controversy, scandal, tragedy, mayhem. Wow. I got bad news. UFC fighter Aljamain Sterling says he's not going to say the fight was rigged between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, but he believes there was some type of agreement made. In this video, we're going to break it down. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. People are still talking about it. This is from a recent podcast with Sterling.
You're telling me you think the fight was rigged?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to say rigged. I want to say there was an agreement. The way I feel is that there's just no way a guy of his caliber, of Anthony Joshua's level of caliber of boxing, all the experience he has fighting all these other world-class guys, we've seen how he fights them, and then Jake Paul comes in there who just relatively started boxing. He's pretty skilled for a guy at his level, how long he's been boxing, but not heavyweight level, not fighting a guy who's as well decorated as Anthony Joshua. And the fact that he was able to even get to that round, what was it, round 6?
Yeah.
You can say it's impressive, but I also feel the other side of me that has seen Anthony Joshua fight makes me wonder if was there a bet on, let's just carry Jake Paul to X amount of rounds, make him look good, we want to entertain, and maybe there's a lot of people putting money on going past 3 or 4 rounds or something like this. I got to speculate and wonder about all these other small little details, but I just can't, I cannot bring myself to grasp. I give him respect. He got his jaw broken. You can't fake that. But that's what should have possibly happened in the first round. And I don't knock Jake Paul. I actually applaud him for getting in there. Don't need to do it. Fighting a big behemoth like that. Getting his jaw broken, which is crazy. But with that said, I give him credit for doing all that thing. Building the sport. Bringing the eyeballs. Giving these other young fighters a chance to make money. You got to give him credit where credit is due. But don't call that a fight. Because there's just no way you're telling me that was the best version of the man, the myth, the legend in Anthony Joshua.
You're telling me...
Now, I told y'all I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. It really is not close at this point. Notice everything I say, and I'm saying it before anybody because I said this during the Boxing Ego watch party. So live, during the fight, and then right after. All these podcasts and interviews are coming out after the fact. I said the same thing in real time. Here's the thing. In Jake Paul, he's doing cease and desist and threatening lawsuits. If people say his fights are fixed, whatever. So I'm not going to get caught up because I know my legal rights. So I'll word it perfectly. There is an element, in my opinion, of Joshua Jake Paul that felt very scripted, very choreographed, very like there was a silent pact or a gentleman's agreement. You're dealing with something different. I'm not like these influencers like Jack Doherty or whatever that they pull up to Miami because it's Miami and it's a Jake Paul fight, right? These people don't watch boxing but once or twice. Like if Floyd fights Conor McGregor or Andrew Tate's fighting or something, they're going to watch it. They don't watch the real, like the much better fights, in my opinion, that boxing has to offer. So there's sometime at best, very, very, very casual, right? So I'm even seeing like there's a lot of ladies in there like fawning over Joshua. Like they had no idea this man even existed. So that definitely was a profile boost for Anthony Joshua. They're like, who's that? Oh, he's cute. And you know what I mean? They didn't even know who he was. So it was a good way to get exposure fighting on Netflix in America, breaking someone's jaw. So it worked out for Joshua. Helped his profile. I'm sure he's getting followers and, you know, just different people checking for him now. A different crossover audience. Cool. But for the rest of us, we've seen the Klitschko fight. We've seen the Joseph Parker fight. We've seen the Dillian White fight. We've seen the Ruiz fight. All of that and everything in between. And when Joshua was fighting Ruiz, he was like fearless up until the point where he got caught because Ruiz got really fast hands, right? And the way he was fighting in the first 4 rounds, it was a big, huge ring, and it really looked like Joshua was missing on purpose, right? And trust me, there is a way to do that. There's a way to do that because I've seen it when people are sparring, right? And I even use this as an example. When people spar, right? And let's say there's a big dude, like Better Biev, it hit hard, and he a light heavyweight, and he working with a smaller female. He can't just go balls to the wall and be like, bop, throwing the shots he was throwing at Bevo. It wouldn't be good for whoever that chick is that also is a lot lighter, right? So they play around in like almost like telegraph punches and like you step it down a bit. Or it could be two men, right? Pause. It could be like Canelo working with Oscar Valdez, who's way smaller, or Luis Nitti if they're in his gym. He can't go full throttle and try to cook them because he could seriously hurt those guys based on the skill and size gap, right? So you're just in there messing around. Or when Canelo sparred Frank Sanchez, Canelo's the breadwinner of that gym. So when Frank Sanchez was there, he can't he probably has to hold back a little bit. And that's what it looked like with Joshua. It looked like he was just holding back, telegraphing his punches. Timing looked horrible. And I think the telltale sign will be when I see his next fight. Because if he fights his next fight against a quote-unquote real boxer that's dangerous, and then all of a sudden he looked like the Joshua that fought Ngannou, then it's going to validate me. So Joshua, he better look exactly like he was looking with Jake Paul. And people are like, Jake Paul made a miss. Yeah, but Joshua looked very slow, and it was a big ring. So I don't know. I agree with Aljamain Sterling. It felt off. You have a vast skill gap, experience gap, reach gap, size gap, power gap, chin gap, right? So what kept Jake Paul upright for 6 rounds? You're acting like he has Pernell Whitaker type footwork. He doesn't, right? And there was even opportunities where Anthony Joshua, he could have threw a very like consequential follow-up punch, and he just didn't. And I would like to believe in the fights where he's fighting Ngannou, he gonna throw the 1-2 and then try to catch you with the second shot instead of just like jab. And then it also looked weird where you got a 6'6" Joshua against a much smaller man who's fighting timid, right? And he was like punching in the air from like 10 feet out. Like he was finding his range. So to me, that looked weird. That looked super weird. He jabbing from a mile away. Like what boxer in a real fight was measuring and constantly wasting punches? Because if you fight the wrong person, like somebody who's been boxing their whole life, and you doing all this, like I've seen people throw out a lazy jab, slow to bring it back, boom, they get caught. Because you threw a lazy jab and then now all this is vulnerable. So doing all this in shadow boxing, if you were fighting somebody who's super dangerous, doing them little like pantomimes would be horrible for you. So I have a hard time believing that if Anthony Joshua pressed the action and really wanted to like hurt Jake Paul, that he couldn't do it. Even when Jake Paul planted his feet and threw a Hail Mary, it bounced off of Joshua's head and he continued with his hook. So it's like you couldn't even hurt him. And it was weird because Jake Paul, he don't hit like Wilder, and Jake Paul was weighing like 216. So everything about the fight, that's why I guess the curiosity, the way Jake Paul was talking, the fact that he came in really light, like you're not Usyk level skill, you're not Wilder level power. So it don't make sense to have come in at 216 pounds, but then Joshua is 250, 245, right? You weigh more when you're fighting Mike Tyson. So everything about the fight felt weird and felt forced. And it wasn't even a good fight at that. No matter if you think there were elements that were choreographed or not. It felt like they had a silent pact where maybe the betting lines or Netflix was like, this fight needs to go 5+ rounds, because you have to understand a company like Netflix, they don't really care about boxing. I think they care about their viewership. So if they gathered everybody and it ends in 20 seconds, I don't really think that benefits Netflix. How would it? Some people be in the bathroom. Some people went to Jack in the Box or went to Five Guys to get something to eat, and then they missed the whole thing. So there would be, I feel like, motive to have the fight extenuated for longer than 1 round. But if Joshua wanted to make it like the Ngannou fight and pile it on, I feel like Jake Paul, he wouldn't even have room to run as big as Joshua is if Joshua cut off the ring, and Joshua got long arms and is taller, right? And he could probably disguise the punch better, like some stuff that Jake Paul ain't seen because he hasn't been boxing as long, right? I really feel like Joshua, and I've said this from the jump, Joshua could have ended things like the Ngannou fight. And there was nothing so dynamic other than running that Jake Paul was doing, to the point where he had to be that dialed in and on that much of a lookout where the fight played out like that, right? Like he was acting like he was fighting Wilder or something. Because I'd understand Joshua taking his time with Wilder, because one punch, if Wilder catches you right, and Wilder's pretty quick, deceptively fast, he can end your whole night. But Jake Paul wasn't doing none of that. He was taking desperation swings occasionally and running and spilling about and falling. He needed knee pads. I hope they had a knee pad sponsor for the fight, because that's what was needed. So for me, everything about the fight fell off.
Tell me,
and I told you,
the fight
for me,
rigged.
That is why I wasn't very committed to the fight. You didn't really see me talking about the fight too much. You didn't see me like overly promoting it. I said I would watch it as a spectator off pure curiosity, but it played out exactly how I thought. And I feel like it hurt Jake Paul a lot, because although you got a lot of money, you got a broken jaw to go with it. You might not recover from that or be the same fighter after that, but you got the money. And then now it's like, what type of events can you even do after being exposed, right? You could use your name and brand, but it reminds me of Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor he got knocked out by Floyd, he got knocked out by Dustin Poirier, and when he kept losing, Nurmagomedov, Khabib submitted him and then jumped out the octagon. So when you keep losing and have embarrassing like blowout type of performances and get exposed, the trash talking, it don't hit the same. You know what I mean? It's like when Tekashi got beat up in the bathroom and then he trying to talk goon talk now. After you done ratted and you got beat up in the bathroom, it's not going to hit the same to do the same type of antic. So I don't even know if people will buy into the Jake Paul experience the same way after this fight. And it's clear with the memes and everybody reposting that people seen it. Food for thought. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.